Everybody knows what FB credits is? Okay. I have nothing to add.
I just had a quick question about your perception about the maturity of the Facebook platform at this point in time, and if the viral aspects of games are starting to go downward. If you look at the highest level games like Farmville, they're having a significantly lower growth than they were in the fall. And I'm curious if there's a link that you're seeing between virality and your ability to earn money. I guess it's particularly for, well, you can ask.
I think Farm's growth kind of probably plateaued because, I mean, what is it? How many? 82 million monthly actives? Something freakish. So, I mean, it's not going to keep that ramp forever, naturally. But yeah, Facebook, every time they change the API, it curtails viral channels. In the early days, I mean, you threw something out there and you put notifications, invites on it, and it was a decent game. It was going to grow quickly. These days, you got to be really, really smart with it, and less people understand the API to the level that is required to grow quickly. And yeah, that does impact revenues, but we're seeing, and I mean, I definitely want to hear from all you guys, but OfferPal is kind of in a different place. Well, not really from RockU, because RockU is very centralized as well. But we see across the network of how people are being affected. And there are a number of games that we're seeing just kind of gradually fall off. But some people, and there's really no rhyme or reason. At one point, at the end of 2009, I thought it was American developers are retarded and Chinese developers are the future. That lasted about 2 weeks. But we suddenly saw this influx of just great Chinese developers that really saw the way to nail the viral channels. But I've seen a couple of American developers in the last it's so amazing that 6 weeks is a long time in this industry, but last 6 weeks, that just get it. So it's not as easy to grow as it was in the middle of 2007, but the opportunity is still very much there. So I guess to answer with a non-answer, you're right, the channels have been curtailed, but not so much that there's no way to succeed from zero.
Yeah, so I'm just going to say that with the decrease in virals, so if you're looking at Facebook as a whole, as the virals decrease, the ad inventory for Facebook actually goes down, right? And as we know, as we've read in the news all the time, Facebook makes a lot of money off of advertising. So they themselves know this, right? So they themselves are taking a hit by decreasing virality. Every time you refresh a page, you get more ads on the right side, and Facebook makes a lot of money off of ads, as it's been in the news all over the time. They are taking a hit themselves by decreasing virals because they're trying to increase user experience. So again, they're well aware of this because they need to make money. Right? It's a business after all. So so if things get too hot for developers, right, they're hurting themselves. They're basically taking the gamble that the incentives they're going to provide back to game developers and application developers is going to offset the hit that's going to come from decreasing virals, because otherwise it doesn't make any sense at all on the platform. So.
I'm going to answer the question more from the development perspective rather than the business. And in my too long history in game development, on many platforms, the one thing that's been certain is that the platform you're developing for when you start the game is different than the platform you develop for when you ship the game. So I think it's critical for all of us as developers to be successful in this industry moving forwards, to bear that in mind, and to be developing with practices that are such that allow you to be agile and change to what the market is now. Definitely I'm going to echo what the fellow panel members up here are saying, is we need to, as an industry, be pushing back on these platforms as to what's right, and making sure that our senior leaders of our industry are doing so. But don't allow a platform change to derail you and derail your game. Make sure that you have what it takes to turn around and react to what's happening in the market and be successful. Because at the end of the day, what you're developing is an entertainment experience, and the business around it is critical, but you should be able to slot it in if you have the right development tools to do so.
I'll say one real quick thing. The growth of these viral games, just think about streams for a minute, and Facebook presents essentially a live stream, and it has become somewhat overrun by the game stream, and that's what's caused the reaction to that. So it raises this big question now. Can you segregate those streams out, and will people still have their live stream, which is then uncluttered by all this game activity, and then will people migrate to a separate place for either games or other types of entertainment feeds? And is that where it's going to grow, or is that going to actually be a dead end? And so that's one of the big questions that needs to be figured out. We're certainly wrestling with that.
All right, are there any other questions? I think you just asked me. Yeah, but okay.
Yeah. I was just wondering what each of you thinks about Credit, the new lending, I guess, credit granting platform that's going to...
Okay, so is there one person that would like to answer this? And then we're going to do one more, and then we're about done. So is there anyone who specific? Okay.
So Credit is not currently one of our payment options. We have 80 some odd payment options, not including Credit. Talked to a developer yesterday who has a largely female, largely younger demographic, and Credit is just amazing for them. He shared some numbers that I don't feel comfortable sharing, but suffice it to say that he's very, very happy having integrated Credit. I think it's risky. I can't imagine giving currency if you're really managing your economy, and then hoping that a 13-year-old girl is going to get to a convenience store to pay it off. But he's thrilled, and he's a month in.
So we have time for one more, and go ahead. We just have one
Hi, one question I had was, we talk a lot about revenue, and we talk about conversion at a couple of %. What are margins like on this? What are we really spending versus what we're really making? Are we talking about major profit, or are we just talking about money changing hands? Is that something I don't really have a clear view of so far?
So we'll have maybe one or two, and then we'll be done. So who wants to answer? Who was it? Nick, do you want to take it? Okay.
All right, so again, I can't share too many numbers, but let's start with Zynga, who has 820 people. They are larger as measured by monthly actives than their next 30 competitors combined. And they're valued at $3.3 billion. So, yeah, they're doing all right. The most amazing story in social gaming that I can think of, hang on, I'm getting a phone call, is CrowdStar. So CrowdStar is Zynga's next biggest competitor. There are 25 people. So 820 to 25, and they're measured by DAUs a quarter the size. No, 1/8 of the size, roughly. I think it's 80 million dailies to 10 million dailies. Don't quote me on that. So there are different models. CrowdStar says they're the most profitable. Zynga is clearly very profitable. It's not just money changing hands. There's margin in this business.
I guess, so he's talking about company level, but if you talk about individual monetization levels, right, your direct payments are going to be your highest margin business, and that's where most of these companies make the majority of their money. The percentages go out to like various credit card fees and so on that go on, and the processing fees that go on, and then as well as it's just very variable depending on the monetization solution that you're using. Just margins all over the place, but they obviously work so, because of the numbers that Nick just talked about.
All right, so thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out and